Okay, welcome to the Father Monologues, Chapter 2. Topic for today is religion. I know this has been late coming because we've had a lot going on over the last year, and this was supposed to be a continuing cycle. Some topics are obviously a little more complicated to think about and how I would present this, but lately this has been one that's been bothering me. Not so much that I'm worried about anybody's immortal soul, but I am worried about the actions and the teachings and all of that you guys are being faced with. So let's start out with something. Is there a God? I know that's a question that I get regularly asked, and I believe there is one. I don't believe that there's a big guy with hands, though. And that seems to be a lot of times what the argument is. The debate over God rests on whether or not there's a big guy out there with hands that's out in the universe. And I find that very frustrating because we live in a modern era. This is the way the ancients perceived God. It's a metaphor for God, the Heavenly Father, the being with hands. And, scientists will come back with the Big Bang, and Christians will get in a hyper tizzy over that. But no one ever really stops to think about what the Big Bang is. If you want to tell me that there is a substance that compressed to all of the power in the universe into one item, well, you'll have people that'll add black matter and all this other stuff to it. So it might be a little bit more, but think about this. Think about the billions of planets out there, the billions of different life forms that are in this planet. Okay, not all the other planets, just on this planet. And the thought of all of that energy going out and then dispensing and creating all of these different objects, planets, suns, stars, which is suns, and all of the life forms that are on this planet. Okay, I mean, we're talking about all the bacteria, you're talking about all of the fish in the sea, the land creatures, and the evolution over time, the ability to learn and grow. And that's the big thing, the learning, okay? I mean, this isn't like, okay, something exploded and there's a bunch of little rocks everywhere. It is a constantly transforming, changing, learning thing. Well, I mean, that doesn't just happen. I mean, an explosion, yeah, that could happen. All of that is within the realm of possibility until you think about all of the learning and education that goes on with all of these creatures. And to not consider that miraculous or to call that God or to feel like this somehow demeans God, I don't comprehend it. I don't even understand how anybody can come up to me and argue that all of life is inconsequential because of this one event when you think about what this event is. I mean, I've read a couple books, the first 3 minutes, the last 3 minutes, which talks about the beginning and ending of the universes, and I mean, that is some heavy stuff. And to think of it as just a simple explanation for things is really quite insulting to science and religion, in my opinion. But that's something that everybody else will have to formulate. And the thing is what is religion? We think of religion as something that we use to judge other people by, or to do service to this invisible being that seems to only keep an eye on us some of the times, because if we demonstrate some ability in church or we do something kind every once in a while, then God turns a blind eye to everything else we do. Religion is a metaphor. Metaphor means a symbol. It is a symbol of something that represents things that we can't explain readily with physical descriptions. And people sooner or later are going to have to deal with that fact. It is a metaphor. And what that metaphor is for is to help us as individuals, singular individuals, grow. Now the thing is that what is truth? What are we pursuing? Religion is about pursuing truth. Here's an interesting belief that I have about truth, is that truth is not anything that we create. We cannot create truth. We can create lies. Lies, anything that we make up, just flat out make up, is a lie. We can't create truths. We can discover truths. Truths are like continents that are out there that we discover using metaphor as a tool to explain and find these things. And then it's part of our way of life. And, you know, obviously with me trying to explain what a metaphor is without using the metaphor is a little bit difficult. So I'm just going to sit out here and ask you to just think of truth as like land, okay? It's continents. There are explorers that discover these continents, okay? And they name them after themselves. So Christopher Columbus found Columbia. So there you go. Because of Columbus, it's now Columbia. Amerigo Vespucci was one of the early ones that founded America. Columbus got there first, but maps were made before people were aware of Columbus's discovery, and that's why we have America. It's the same thing with Christianity, Buddhism, Mohammedanism, all of these things. There are specific truths that are in these religions, and the discoverers of those truths, well, they're named after it. So that's why we refer to Buddhism, the truths of Buddhism. The Buddha had sit out here and shared. Or Christianity, the words of Christ. You get the picture. Okay? But the thing is that while continents are not created by us, countries are created by us. Towns are created by us. Politics is created by us. And these are the structures that are on top of the continent. And sometimes you have to go underneath all of that in order to find the truth. So Christianity, Buddhism, Mohammedanism, there have been structures built on there. Why is this done? Well, let's put it this way. When Christ tells you that you're not to think about the things of this world and you are not to hate other people, it's really hard to find an army, really hard to build an army. Rich people don't like to hear that riches are the quickest way to go to hell. And by hell, I mean misery, your own misery. So sometimes we had to change how we interpret things. One of those might be like mansions in heaven. You know, you'll hear the phrase, in my Father's house are many mansions. Mansions back at a period of time meant rooms. Okay, it didn't mean Georgia mansion, big house. It meant room, a humble abode. Okay, which makes sense when you think about God's house. You wouldn't have houses in a house. You would have rooms in a house that we all get to go and join in equally. When Jesus talks about treasures in heaven, he is talking about things that thieves cannot steal. Okay, those are things like integrity or love or respect. Nobody can take those things away from you. You can only give them away. So God isn't talking about big safety deposit box that is secured in heaven, and since thieves can't go to heaven, well, your treasure is safe. You know, streets of gold. When you think about it, if everybody had a street of gold, it would be the same as concrete. You know, so that is one of those things that I would really appreciate it if you guys would take some time to think about. There's a few things that I'm putting together for you. I have 2 Bibles here. This one right here was given to me by Grandma. I have put in notes and thoughts and stuff over the course of time. I guess one of the questions that might come up is, why do I use the Bible? Well, the Bible is because I am a Christian. Why am I a Christian? Well, because my culture is connected to it. Okay? It's kind of like learning a foreign language. English is my native tongue. If I was to try to learn French, or if I was going to go pick up anything in the Slavic languages, I would think in English and translate it to another uh, language. So why go through all of that when I already have a language that works for me? So uh, I have these Bibles, and I have a new one here that I bought, I think about a year ago, that Uncle Doug gave me money for. And so I've been transferring the notes from that Bible to this one, so each of you guys can have one handy to go over and follow a trail. Not to follow my trail, but perhaps to pick up something that is your own trail, you know. So when you talk about these particular things with Christianity, how do I deal with things like hell or heaven? I think of those as states of mind. I think it would have to be a very sadistic God to not only fry me for a period of time until I'm consumed, but to decide that I need this forever. That's a very, very, very long time. Those are the things that we're kind of stuck with, is that eternity, torturing me for eternity for the things that I did on this world. It's not that I've not done things that I'm ashamed of. I've done things that I'm deeply ashamed of. Okay, and I am grateful that I can seek forgiveness through my faith. Uh, and it doesn't erase that. If the Bible said God will put me in hell for a year or two, yeah, I probably had that coming. Eternity, no, I'm sorry. I can't live long enough to sit out here and deserve that kind of punishment. And I don't believe God is quite like that, and so I put that aside. The way I think of heaven and hell are places of torment that we put ourselves, or places of high ecstasy that we can also be in if we are lined up right. Because when I say that I have done things that I'm ashamed of, I have been in hell during those particular periods of time. I have suffered from self-loathing. I have suffered from things like self-disgust and anger and all of that stuff with myself, and my faith has helped me through this. Now, there's some people that obviously believe the Bible, like literally. Grandma is one of those. So it is a very delicate matter when I have conversations with Grandma, because she has it sometimes in her head that I'm an atheist, that I hate the Bible, I hate God, I hate all of these things, and I don't. I just grew up under a strict belief system, and it wasn't the strictness of the rules, it was the hypocrisy that was constantly thrown in here that eventually kind of disillusioned me to the whole thing and made me just want to go away. And I have gotten over that. I'm in my 20s. I decided to go pick up the Bible and read it for myself without a whole bunch of other interpretations in there. And over the years, I have taken notes and items of that nature. One of the things when it comes to hell, speaking of hell, that always used to bother me was thinking about Grandpa. Not Grandpa alone, but Grandpa Craig. Grandpa Craig was an atheist, would tell me all the time that he did not believe in God. When you're a child who sincerely 100% believes in heaven and hell and believes that their dad is going to be tormented for eternity, that agonized me. I tried numerous times to talk to Dad about God, and to try to convert him over to Christianity, which of course Dad had no interest in. And that bugged me for a very, very long time. Then after when we were living in the greenhouse there, or the White House with the green porch, Dad came to visit one time, and we had a really good visit. One of the really rare ones, but it was a good visit. And Dad had talked about how he was alone at night, and he went and would talk to his mom and talk to Charlie and all of that. He said that they never answered him. But I found it interesting and kind of touching that my dad would be longing for his family to that degree to go past his atheism into some form of belief. I mean, he uttered this stuff out loud for a reason, and that reason is that longing in his heart to sit out here and talk. Well, there's nothing in the Bible specifically about it, but there is something by a Muslim kind of like shaman type person, and he was a poet, and he wrote a poem called Love Dogs. Love dogs. One night a man was crying, Allah, Allah. His lips grew sweet with the praising until a cynic said, so, I have heard you calling out, but have you ever gotten any response? The man had no answer to that. He quit praying and fell into a confused sleep. He dreamed he saw Kidder, the guide of souls, in a thick green foliage. Why did you stop praising? Because I've never heard anything back. This longing you express is the return message. The grief you cry out from draws you toward union. Your pure sadness that wants help is the secret cup. Listen to the moan of a dog for its master. That whining is the connection. There are love dogs no one knows the name of. Give your life to be one of them. Think about that for a minute. Dad's longing for his family was the response. And so that's where he found union with God. And that really helped me a lot after my father died. I could take peace into that. Now this was a Persian mystic, a Muslim. Did it become less true because it was from a Muslim? Is there a different truth or a different religion? Or is it one truth that was simply discovered by the mystic, which gave insight into that desire that we have to sit out here and be with our loved ones and to be with God? And that's what I think pretty much religion is all about. Now, when I sit out here and leave this stuff for you, is it for you to be converted to my way of thinking? No, it is to sit out here and find your own way, but it would be nice to know that you're actually looking for it. You know, there's a poem by Blake. I give you the end of a golden string. That is what the books I'm leaving for you are. Only wind it into a ball. In other words, follow the trail. It will lead you in at heaven's gate, built in Jerusalem's wall. It's a poem. It's a poem religion. There's a poem, the Bible. It is a metaphor, which is all what all religion is. And so, therefore, I consider these things words of truth. Are they true? Yes. You can find truth in anything. You can find truth in Star Wars. You can find truth in Lord of the Rings. Where it becomes a problem is if you decide that you're now a Jedi Knight, and so you're going to go and be Jedi all the time, and you believe that the Force is real, and you're going to do all of these things. Just like Lord of the Rings, you start running around with a sword, you're probably going to run into some problems. This is what happens with all religions. We start running away with a metaphor. You know, people will tell you, well, I got faith in this book. Well, really, faith in a book is not faith. What you're saying is that you're too lazy to use the book to think about things. You're using the book as a strict manual. There is no deviation from there. And that's not faith at all. I have to have faith that God loves me enough that God would be encouraged by me trying to find him. And to look for them in various forms, but always it goes into the center of yourself. And I think that people that are out there just trying to poo-poo on that, well, I don't find them very happy people. I don't think that their wisdom or structure in life has really inspired me for much. Um, and so someone who is determined to remind me over and over again that they don't believe in God, eh, I'll pray for them. We'll leave it at that. Uh, and it's okay for them to not believe in God. It isn't going to go and change, their internal soul or anything like that. Not my beliefs anyway. And as long as they're good people, that's good. And speaking of good, we have an interesting way of looking at how we're good, whether we're good or not. And this raises some concerns there. See, a lot of us think that being good means just not being really bad. Like the absence of a really big bad makes you good. I hear people saying, "Well, I'm a good person. I don't rape or kill anyone." Well, hey, congratulations. You should get a gold star for that. You decided not to sexually assault somebody and you did not kill people. Wow, you're a great person. No, good doesn't work quite like that. Good means making an effort to try to be a positive force. That requires work. And it also requires looking in the mirror and admitting to yourself that you're not good all the time. And if you're good part of the time, well, then that is an accomplishment in itself. But I am so tired of people that go into church and then come out talking about all of the people that they hate. I hate Muslims. I hate gay people. I hate people that think and act differently than I do, even if it doesn't impact my life one iota. You know, I mean, it's like I'll hear all the time hatred for certain presidents and stuff. I can tell you that pretty much I walk the same streets and live life about the same, regardless of who is president. Um, in the end, all of that really doesn't matter. I mean, we care to a certain extent because we would like certain laws and all that to not go through, but I don't think our problems anymore can be solved by politics. And taking pride in hating other people because their politics are different than ours is something that bothers me. I don't think that indicates any good character, whether you're liberal or whether you're in the right wing. Hatred of another person is wrong. And that's the thing, there is a universally accepted truth. Hatred is wrong. It doesn't do anybody any good. And that's something that we all have to work on. I remember Grandma one time telling me, when I was telling her about the fact of reminding her that the Bible says, love your enemies, turn your cheek, she would tell me, well, that's not very practical. And that would crack me up because this is coming from Grandma, who's, of course, teaching me the Bible. And yeah, it's not practical. It's being a good person is never going to be practical. It's kind of like you got one piece of chocolate cake and you want to be a good person and you offer that chocolate cake to somebody else who's, of course, going to scarf it down. You're going to be one without the cake. That's it's a constant struggle, you know. And the whole thing is that, if you look at someone else who's hungry and you're eating this cake, that can, hopefully present some kind of misery over the fact that you're well fed or not. Maybe they should have the cake. It's a simplified, very simplistic way of looking at things, but that's just kind of the way it is. And you see, this is the conversations that I always wanted to have with people when it comes to the Bible, is I would like to be able to talk about things as reference to metaphor without, on one hand, someone going, oh, that's cute. Well, it's not cute. Faith is not cute. It's not like, oh, that's beautiful. It's a Hallmark card. No, it's a whole way of life. You're analyzing your behavior every second of the day. You're sitting out here trying to focus and center your energy towards something that's higher than yourself. It's not cute. It's not easy, and it's not supposed to be mocked or patronized. So that's what I get on one end. Different strokes for different folks. I don't believe in different strokes for different folks. I don't believe in different religions. I believe that all religion has two things in common. A lot of truth and a lot of lies. And those lies are easy to detect. How are they easy to detect? Well, you get something that's carnal. Say, like in the Bible, it says, God says, I give you the land of Canaan. Cool, thank you, God. Unfortunately, you'll have to kill all the Canaanites. That probably is a political thing. That is probably something that somebody added because they wanted the land in Canaan. I mean, that's kind of the way it works. In Mohammedanism, there was an author called Salman Rushdie who wrote a book that angered Muslims, and so there was a reward out there. There was like $1 million, and then you'll get eternal life as a hero, and you'll get like a whole bunch of virgins to copulate with. Well, that sounds a little bit sketchy to me. I mean, not only do you get eternal life, but hey, you get to go out and blow $1 million and have, this great sexual life later on. I can consider that very, very suspicious. And that's the way a lot of religion works. Is just that whole focus on the carnal. What I wanted to talk to people about is to be able to use the Bible to ask certain questions. The last fight Grandma and I got into is kind of interesting because what it was over was I brought up the idea of, it says in the Bible that even Jesus didn't know the end of days. The Son of Man doesn't know when the end is. So, you take something like that and you try to grow a thought from it. So one of the things I suggested to Mom was that maybe this was God's gift to us to say that we decide when the end of time is. Our own actions, our ability to get along with one another, our ability to put aside hatred could delay the end of days. Not that the end of days will ever be, there will be an end of days. I mean, eventually the sun will, for example, will have to blow up. But the thing is that looking at it from this particular religious thing, that it might be a motivation to talk to people about our own actions. And so maybe we could delay the end of time. Now, this got translated somehow to I hate God and I believe that people are perfect and I just want to go into this love stuff, and it turned into a regular ugly conversation. We got past that. But the thing is that she didn't like the metaphor. That's fine. But translating it to my own hatred of God or my own belief that people are perfect, I just had a hard time with that. And that's something that I will have to also work on, is this understanding of just letting things go, not letting my own ego get in the way. And that's a constant work in progress. Before I end this whole thing, I know I kind of went all over the place, and that's the way a monologue is going to go, because I love you guys and I don't have any responses back from you, so I have to sit out here and just provide some different food for thought is all that is. Okay. Christianity, I love my faith. I love the Bible. There's a lot of things that I find good in there. I always walk cautiously and carefully because there are different lessons in there but there are also some things that could be taken in a negative way. And I'll give you an example of a few of these things. One of those, man had dominion over the earth. In the beginning, man is, we are the king and queen of the earth at one point. And the idea is that we would have dominion over that. Well, you can look at that as one of two ways. You can look at it as you are responsible. We are caretakers. When you are in charge of something, any project I've ever been in charge of has not been a free-for-all. It has been a thing where it is a responsibility. So having dominion over the earth, to me, was a call for responsibility. And some people translate that in the Bible to mean we can just use the earth whatever we want. Someday God's going to give us a new one because, hey, we're so good with what we're doing right now. Of course we deserve a new one. Just like a kid who will break his toys because that his parents will buy him the same thing later on. It doesn't matter what he does. So I think of that could be taken to be good in responsibility, or it can take it bad as in being irresponsible. And now it's, when it's taught the wrong way, it can be a dangerous belief system. I'll give you another thing. The belief that the earth is not our home, that we have no connection, no physical connection to the earth, that one is kind of a bothersome type deal. This is not like when it says be not of this world, it just pretty much means don't conform yourself to the politics and cultures of the day, or at least that's how I translate it. What some people will do is there's an old Christian hymn that goes, this world is not my home, I'm just a passing through. Okay, so we're just passing through like tourists. Okay, and if you've ever gone anywhere, you will see how tourists had treated things. When I took you guys down the river, not to bring up bad memories, but you would see the shape of the river. We would find beer cans out wherever anybody was landing out. We used to take these bags with us to go clean out clean any of the trash we found in the woods over at, when we go on little hikes and stuff. Because those are tourists. It wasn't their home. They're just going through. I want to eat pizza and I throw a box on the ground. Who cares? I don't have to clean it up because I'm not going to be here. When people have that attitude about about the earth itself and about the way Christianity works, that we're not a citizen here, that we don't care about it, Jesus is just going to come in and just do everything, it really is turning a back on everything that Christianity is about, the love and compassion and all of that we're supposed to give to other people. That idea that we can just do whatever we want, that has never set well with me. It's the same thing with eternal forgiveness. The idea of forgiveness is the knowledge that, well, we got to be forgiven by somebody. Okay? I mean, that's an important thing. We need forgiveness. Anybody who's taken a bad turn and done something horribly wrong, we may say, well, they do not deserve forgiveness. And we as people might do that because, well, we're people. We're sinful. We're basically judgmental and we have some problems. But the idea that at least somebody can forgive us, that God can forgive us, is a very important thing, because that's how you change. If you're in prison and you believe that there's nothing good that you're ever going to encounter in life, what's the motivation to get you out of that place? But this can be also twisted. So you got a lot of people that I know you have some influences that will talk about how we're judging other people because they're not Christians and God is going to go do evil things to them, but I can do whatever I want because God forgives me. Yay! That's problematic. I mean, it pretty much removes all responsibility for your own actions, puts all of the responsibility on others, and gives you the freedom and the right to sit out here and judge other people that are not Christians, and that's not what that's about. That's a horrible teaching. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And not anything that Jesus would be too thrilled about. Matter of fact, the Bible even warns about the idea that people are twisting Jesus' words. It'll say, like, in the end days, people will come up to me, Lord, have I not done all these wonderful things in your name? Haven't I done all these wonderful works? And I will say, I never knew you. Okay, and that's the way I think Jesus looks at a lot of modern Christians today. I don't know who you are. You're not teaching the things that I believe in. If you take a red letter, if you just look at what Jesus wrote in the Bible and not what apostles and stuff like that went through, what Jesus was purported to have said, you're going to have a hard time finding anything that's really bad about that. And you're going to have a hard time finding out, you're going to be wondering how a man, just a regular man, would come up to some of the conclusions that he has. Matter of fact, a great example of that, and I love the story, comes from the Buddhism. And This is a group of Zen tales. These are stories from people of Buddhist faith. A university student, while visiting Gasan, asked him, "Have you ever read the Christian Bible?" "No, read it to me," said Gasan. The student opened the Bible and read from St. Matthew. "And why take you thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin, and yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself." Gasan said, "Whoever uttered these words I consider an enlightened man." The student continued reading. "Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened." Gasan remarked, "That is excellent. Whoever said this is not far from Buddhahood. Ain't that a wonderful story?" I just love the idea that somebody from Buddhism is looking at Christ and saying, wow, he could be a Buddha. And that also goes back to why I read all of these particular books, because those books help me understand the Bible more, and I would hope that the Bible helps people of other religions understand their religion a little bit more, because it's all a metaphor. But I will leave you with this thought. If you go to church, that's great. If you go to church and you leave church hating somebody, I suggest you go back into the building and think about it some more. I don't want you to hate anybody. It makes me feel sad to think that my sons would try at any point to not love other people or to sit out here and be in a position to judge or hate other people. I mean, that just bothers me to no end. If you decide that you're an atheist, you don't believe in God, that is fine also, but find some compass. Find something that helps you become a better person, okay? You know, we can't dictate the things that everybody believes, but I want you both to live a happy life, and the truth of the matter is that in life, human beings are the perpetuators of their own misery. That is what we do. We sit out here and make each other miserable for reasons I don't know. You know, there is no reason for anybody to not be able to go into work, have a successful and happy life with their mate, with their children, to be able to do these things without hating everybody else or trying to make life miserable for anybody else, for our own amusement or for anything else. There is no reason for it. So anyway, guys, just some food for thought. I will be exploring some other topics, things like poetry, things like even the electronics that'll be found around here. I want you guys to kind of know what you're going to discover. You're going to find a lot of things around here. And if you guys don't gravitate toward any of it, hold on to it. You know, maybe your kids will like it. I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.